Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Gabrielle and today I wanted to talk about some recent favorites. These aren't necessarily like my favorites for the past month, they're my favorites for like the past few months, just products that I've been grabbing a lot as of lately and I wanted to share. I'm gonna leave eyeshadow last because it's kind of a lot. I kind of blacked out with eyeshadow. I haven't bought as much makeup in general recently because of moving and buying furniture. So these are just the things that I've been using a lot. So yes. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with blush just because I've mentioned this blush before, but when I did mention it, I think I had only tried it like once and some time has passed and I've been using it a lot. It's one of my favorite blushes, to be honest. This is the Flower Beauty Blush Balm in the shade Cinnamon. This blush is perfect. It's a brown. It has the easiest applicator as well because you can be really careful with it and you can control how much you want to put on. See, it's like a yellowy brown. It's so pretty. I'm wearing it right now. It's perfect for fall. It's perfect for anything. This formula is really buildable. If you're a beginner with liquid blushes, it's really easy to use. It's $10 and I feel like it's not just so good for the price, this is good. Like, it's a beautiful color, beautiful finish. You can't really go wrong with it. You can't fuck up with it. It's foolproof. It's lovely. Another blush I've been using a lot is the Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duos. I have 3 of these. Which you do not need 3. I mean, I don't regret having 3 because I like them all a lot, but like, please. This one in particular that I've been using is in the shade Warm Honey. It kind of gives a bit of a sun-kissed feel. And so this is like a pinky, peachy brown. I don't know, man. But it worked really well with like summer looks and it's certainly going to work well for the fall. See, Cover FX, I love Cover FX as a brand. People think that they're boring and I'm like, what do you mean? They have these beautiful blushes. They have a pretty perfect foundation, the Power Play foundation. It's full coverage, but I love it. I love the finish that it gives. It doesn't look like just flat nothing on your face. It lasts super well throughout the day. It just looks like your skin, but 10. Even though it's full coverage, it's not like too much. It's beautiful. Their setting spray is really good. Their powder obviously is a classic. I feel like they don't release much, but when they do, it's good shit. I mean, obviously I'm sure there are some duds in their line, but like when Becca closed down, people were like, Cover FX is gonna be next, and I was like, no. So this next blush, it's a little bit polarizing. A lot of people have tried it and some people don't like it, but some people do, and personally I do. This is the Cosmetics Blush Serum. I have 2 of these, but this one is Sunset Sky, and I've been using this because it's a really juicy color. It kind of reminds me of summer. The reason people don't like this blush, well, there's probably more than one reason, but the reason people don't like it is the packaging. That it's very cute, but it's not practical. And that you can't really get product out of it very easily, and I do agree because it kind of has the same component as a serum. There's a dropper, and so you go like this, and it can be difficult to have control of the product you put out. Like with the Flower Beauty one, it's pretty easy to control it. This one, I find that I usually always do a little too much. But as far as the formula itself, I find that it's really buildable. And when you do put it on your cheeks, it can be sheer, but you can definitely build up the color. The finish of it itself, it really does the name Serum Blush justice. Like, it really just looks like water. Almost. It's really nice. I personally don't find that it like lifts up my foundation or anything like that, because some people were saying they didn't like how it looked on them either, but I personally, I think it's really nice, really glowy, really easy to use, except for this really beautiful packaging, but like not the most ideal. I do think that maybe it could be a pump. I don't know if that would like, you know, ruin things, but I just think it would be a little more easier to use if it was like a pump or something, or squeezy like this one. I only have like 2 highlighters to talk about. One of them I mentioned in my last video, so I'm not gonna harp too much on it, but this is Nabla Ozone. I have another one in the shade Privilege, but this one, it's just like a neutral ivory shade, and I'm wearing it right now, and it just looks very beaming from within kind of highlighter. Like I could see somebody wearing this to their wedding. I feel like the swatch makes it look a little more like blinding than it actually is, because it looks like ooh, but then on the cheeks it just looks like this, which is still really pretty, but just so you know, it's more like she's happy. She's not wearing makeup, she's just happy. So I also have this Milk Makeup Flex highlighter in the shade Iced. This is a gift from my mother for Christmas. This one is a little more intense than the Nabla one, even though I feel like it doesn't swatch super intense. Wow, they look the same. I promise they're not the same. The Milk one is a little more gold. The Milk one is a little more gold than this one. This one is just pretty neutral, and I find both of these highlighters working for a lot of different looks that I've done, and they both give off really nice finishes. This one is a little more like blinding. When I say blinding, I don't mean like it's 2016 again. I just mean like it's more intense. So those are the highlighters I've been reaching for. Now you can see that this one's more gold, right? I dove into the world of cream bronzers, and it was the right choice. I finally got the Fenty cream bronzer in the shade Butter Biscuit, and it's a really beautiful color. I also got the e.l.f. Putty bronzer. Oh my god. It's like this is a bear and this is a color. I really like both of these colors. I find that this one, it starts off pretty sheer and then you can build it up really nicely. You can't really go overboard with this one. And this one's sheer too. Like it's not overly pigmented, but I feel like this one is more forgiving, I would say. I'm wearing the Fenty one today on my hairline and my cheeks. They both have really good undertones for me for my warm undertone. See how the Fenty one is pretty warm, not orange, but it's not red at all, so it works really great for me. Then the e.l.f. one, see how upon first swatch the e.l.f. one is more sheer than the Fenty one? I mean, it's just a swatch. You're obviously not gonna be going like they have a similar undertone, but they're definitely not the same. Like this one is a lot more warm and this one's a little more neutral, I would say, because it's certainly not red. I would just say it's more neutral. Something people were saying about this bronzer was, how am I going to get my brush in there? I guess I'm just able to squeeze my brush in there. It's literally like the width of it is about the width of this, but a lot of people often use bigger brushes for bronzer, so I could see that. But besides the component being a little small, I do think it's really nice and gives a really nice sun kiss. I want more cream bronzers. I want more cream bronzers. I want more bronzers in general. I used to only have like one because I'm like, why do I need multiple? And now I'm like, because they're nice and they're fun. Like I just like adding that warm dimension to my face. I've recently been using this primer. This is the Peach and Lily Skin Shield Blurring Primer. Ignore the cap, it's a little broken. But I like this because it feels like skincare and it gives a really nice glow to my base products. It's really liquidy, like my microphone's right here. But it's nice. I do find that it is pretty blurring and that it does kind of blur out my pores a little bit and just gives a really nice glow. I like to reach for it when my skin isn't feeling very like I did my skincare the night before. So I just fall asleep and then I'm like, oh, I didn't do my skincare, that sucks. Let's talk about lip stuff. These are all glosses because I've just been wearing gloss like a lot, like exclusively. Let's talk about the one that I'm wearing today. This is the Adept Cosmetics Las Desnudas lip gloss. This is in the shade Divina. The owner's a genius. I really shouldn't throw around that word as much as I do, but I really like the play on words here because desnudas means naked, And the way that it's written on here is Des Nude, like nude English spelling of nude, and it's just a nice play on words, like what she did with her eye primer, Pero Primero primer, which is but first primer. That's, and then primero and you get it. But anyways, this color is so nice. Like I'm wearing it right now. Again, it's perfect for fall. I feel like I just wear fall colors all fucking year, but especially now that we are entering the best time of the year. The year that I thrive, the year that I stop fucking sweating, the year that it's spooky. Wait, am I saying the year? This is the year that I stopped sweating. This lip gloss is pretty opaque, but it doesn't bleed when it's on the lips. And it's really comfortable. It kind of reminds me of the Tower 28 glosses. I wouldn't say they're exactly the same, but the textures are pretty similar, I find. So it's just really comfortable to wear, really easy to reapply, even though it's opaque. And just really fucking underrated. Like, I don't know if I've seen many people talk about this. And it's good. It's good, yeah, okay. And I love the color of the tube. It's like this really nice yellowy green, and then the actual color of the gloss is right there. It's just, this is creme de la creme. Okay, I've been wearing this so much. Speaking of Tower 28s, they kind of have a hold on me, on the makeup community in general, but also me. I'm personally victimized. This was also a gift from my mom for Christmas. Mom, you got me some good shit. Okay, this is in the shade Cashew, and this gloss goes with everything, fucking everything. I couldn't put it down. Also, these are called their Shine On Lip Jellies. It's more sheer. Yeah, it's definitely more sheer than like the Alamar ones, but you still get a nice wash of color. And again, they're pretty notorious for being extremely comfortable. Something I forgot to mention about the Alamar one that also applies here too is this wears off really nicely. Like when it does wear off, you still have some nice color on. And with this, I would say wears off the same way. Especially because this is like one of the cheaper glosses that you'll find in a Sephora store. Not cheaper glosses you'll ever find, but in Sephora. This is... I also have Oat, which is a really pale nude. And I want to get Spicy, which is red. I want more. I want more, okay? These are so good. Like, listen to the kids. The kids... Talking about Tower 28. I really want to try their cream blushes as well. And then Nyx Butter Gloss. Certainly not a new product. Everyone knows what these are, but I've been wearing the shade Madeline. It's a really beautiful nude. With the NYX glosses, they're not the most glossy. I am curious to try their other lip glosses called This Is Milky. That just sounds intriguing to me. But this is just a nice nude that lasts pretty well, and it has enough coverage on my lips, and it's also pretty comfortable to wear, and I think these are $5, so just upside down. Classics for a reason, right? It's classic. Am I really? Yeah, I guess it's eyeshadow time. I have honorable mentions because I haven't used a couple of these palettes as many times. Honorable mention number 1 is Glaminatrix U Beauty. And I'm probably gonna get crucified for this not being an immediate favorite, but I've only used this twice. I do really like it so far, especially the red. Like, that is a fucking red right there. This palette is pretty coveted. It has this really gorgeous color story. All of the names are inspired by Australian slang, or they are Australian slang. And this palette, this brand is an Australian brand, so it came from Australia. It took a long time for me to get it. I ordered it in late May was the restock, like May 27th around there, and I got it on August 18th, which ironically is my birthday. But that's when I got it, like almost 3 months later. So, you know, it was a long wait, and especially because it was a pre-order, and then the Australia to US shipping is a lot. So, and Whoop Whoop came broken. I was able to smush it back together, but this shade broke for a lot of people. But the nice thing about Glaminatrix is that if you tell them they will send you a replacement, no problem, which is really nice. Also, a really nice touch of this palette is this shade Stitch Up. You could get it deeper. If you have like a deep skin tone and like this shade isn't deep enough for you, there's another one. I think it's the same name, but it's just like a deeper brown, which I think is really nice of them to offer. But yeah, so far I am enjoying this. I just haven't used it enough times to be like, yeah, man, this is good shit. But it's this really beautiful colors. Again, this red is a red. It's not a red that blends into a pink. It is fucking red and I love it. I also used this really weird blue called Bloody Oath. Lovely, really lovely. This palette is also expensive. I believe it was $70 US because it was different with Australian dollars, but US is like 70 or 72 because a lot of these shades are duochromatic, multichromatic. So she's, oh my god, the back is so cute. Look at these little animals. But yeah, just like broke character for a second. But yeah, this palette is bougie, but so far I am enjoying it very much. All right, honorable mention number 2. You got a Colourpop palette, you guys. High Tide. I love this. I love what I've used again. It's a monochromatic palette, but it's like this really very interesting blue color story. You know, it's not just like your typical blues. I really love these grayish blues. These are really, really nice. And they looked beautiful, honestly, when I used them. Like, I love the look I did with it. It's honestly one of my favorites. Any look you do is going to be blue. Okay, there's really no way to escape that, but these shadows are really, really good. Like, Flora's a really nice shade. It just washes out to, again, this gray blue. I love it. It's a palette that I definitely want to use more because it's good. Alright, so this is like an actual favorite. Like, I love this and I've been using it. She's perfect. I did a video of my first impression of this and I was stupidly happy with it. I was like, wow, this is so good. I've never used a Natasha Denona palette before this, and to this day this is the only product I own. I want to try more of her thing. This is the perfect neutral palette. I love these tones so much. I love warm neutrals in general, and this is just like S tier warm neutrals. Ridge is one of the best eyeshadows I own, and again, these are pretty easy to use and they blend themselves. Like, when it comes to my single eyeshadows, if there's something that I really want to focus my look on, I'll probably come to these for the mattes most likely. Not to say that I don't like the shimmers here, but I guess that's a critique I have, is I wish they were a little more special. This palette is $65. They're certainly not bad shimmers. I just personally wish they made me look a little more like a fairy, but it's just a me thing. This palette's amazing. Okay, I know her palettes can be kind of hit or miss, which sucks, but I find that this is my favorite color story of hers. But I do like the gold palette, but it's just a lot of money. Like, but yeah, I've been using this a lot, used it a ton for work. It's, when it comes to palettes that do have special shimmery eyeshadows that do make me look like a fairy, it's where Plain Jane comes in. And I'm pretty sure that name is like supposed to be ironic, in case you're like, what do you mean? Plain Jane, fairy, how does that? If you don't know, this is from Adept Cosmetics, and this is an all shimmer palette. And this palette is also expensive, it's $62, but these are pretty special finishes, like duochromatic and just really, really sparkly. I find that this palette is also pretty good to use if you just want something for work, because you could easily do a one shadow look with this. Even if you do use a matte from somewhere else, you could easily just be like here for the shimmers. I saw my friend Emily Han do a video on her makeup uniform, and the idea of that is, if you think about a uniform, you know, you wear the same thing every single day. Think of that, but apply it to makeup. If you had to wear the same makeup every day, what would it be? And Emily said that they would use ACI 7 all over the lid. And then I saw Sincerely Alex Makeup also post that onto her Instagram, and I was like, that looks lovely. Seeing both their looks inspired me to do the same, to just use this eyeshadow as a one shadow look, and it is gorgeous. It looks pink in the pan, and then when I wear it, it looks green. Like, ooh, ooh, see that? See a shift right here? That's special. Okay. ACI 8 I've also used with just like one matte shadow in the crease, and it's just so wet looking. I didn't get this palette as soon as it came out, but basically I felt like I was getting unintentionally bullied. Like nobody was telling me fucking buy it, but like I saw so many looks, so many videos, so many Instagram posts with this fucking palette, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I'm really glad that I did because it's quite special. I'm not sure if this is in stock or if they're going to be bringing it back in stock because I think this is limited edition, but they do have a couple other palettes and they are about to release a new one, so I recommend checking them out. Single eyeshadows in general are a favorite. I showed this in my last video, no, like 2 videos ago. Again, my JD Glow and Cliona shadows here on the bottom. Finally joined the Cliona club. I won't harp too much on Unexpected because I was basically going gaga over it already in my video, but I will quickly show her one more time. I don't need to talk. With Cliona, I think the shadow I want to point out here is Bloodline. See that like green gold shift right there? I don't even know what's going on. Also Vermilion. I really like Vermilion. Like it's this one right here that is going from pink to yellow to like brown. That almost looks like a brown. Super shifty eyeshadows. And this is my palette of love. I like this magnetic palette in general. It's actually from Tarte. This is like the first thing I bought from Tarte in fucking years, but see, it's really big. It has this really cool texture to it, and it's just nice. I like it. I have all these single shadows here. I want to talk about Crazy Cash from Tracy's Powder Room because it is kind of everything. Crazy Cash is this one right here. You could almost see it shift in there, like that gold to that green, which is pretty much what it is. It's a gold to green eyeshadow. Like you could kind of see it shift a little bit here. There's green and then there's the gold. There you go. My arm is in a very weird position, but I don't normally post videos of myself on my Instagram where I'm like, but I did for this shade because I really wanted to capture like the sparkle, the shift. Like my other friend Sky the Cloud also said that the shade reminded them of Terra Moon's Light Year because I showed it in like Discord and they're like, oh, that looks like Terra Moon's Light Year. So if you have Light Year, you don't need this, and vice versa. This one here is Rock Biter from Pretties for Your Face. I paired this eyeshadow with the Natasha Denona Bronze, and it is easily one of my favorite looks I've ever done. Like, it's just like this brown with a red in it. It's not like shifty or anything, it just is really beautiful on the eyes. It just looks really metallic. And these bottom 10 are my Divina Shadows, which is hard to pick. Honestly, I love the finish of these shadows. They're so sparkly and pretty. I'm gonna go with this shade. It's called Messier, and it's very interesting because it looks like a blue in the pan, but then it also looks purple when I look at it. See that? I'm running out of space on the other side of my hand, but see, you catch that shift right there. Latina owned business we support. Speaking of which, JD Glow is a black owned business as well. Oh, something I forgot to mention was actually these lashes from Lunar Beauty. These are in the style Stella. These are the smallest lashes currently in his line. I've really been enjoying them. I think that they have a good amount of separation because since I've gotten really into these special shadows that I won't shut the fuck up about, I like when the lashes show them a little bit. Sometimes they just block, sometimes they're separated enough. And I like these. They're short and I'm getting into the short lash gang over here with mascara. These lashes are really, really nice. Obviously, the packaging is kind of divine. A lash fell. I wanted to have a section dedicated to media because I like when there's favorites videos where people include all the other things that they've been enjoying. So I wanted to do the same. I haven't been watching a lot of shows. The last show I watched was Schitt's Creek. And it was really good. I finished it and it made me happy cry. And no show has ever done that before. I like happy cried at the end. It was really cute. But I haven't really watched anything. Well, there was a movie I watched for the first time and it was Howl's Moving Castle. Many people watching are probably like, you barely watched it for the first time. It was, yes, I did. But it was really good. It was really cute. I liked it. I wanted to share some songs that I've been listening to a lot. One of them being Until You Come Back to Me, parentheses, That's What I'm Gonna Do, by Aretha Franklin. And this song has been around my whole life. I've heard it my whole life, but one day I just heard it and playing and I was just like, this song is really nice. And I can't fucking stop playing it. It's so good. Like her vocals, the backup singers, so beautiful. I feel like it's kind of saying I'm gonna stalk you until you take me back, because she's like, I'm gonna knock on your window and I'm gonna fucking go to your house until you fucking say like, oh hey, I missed you. And you know those kind of songs where you're like, what the song is actually about is kind of weird, but I really like this song. It's a really good song. So I've also been listening to A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke a lot, and obviously this song is pretty well known, but it's just good. Because I kind of got reintroduced to it when I watched One Night in Miami. Leslie Odom Jr., he plays Sam Cooke and he sings it. And he kind of sang his ass off. Like, it was kind of like pretty good. But it made me listen to the actual song and I'm like, this is beautiful. Like the horns, the singing, even like what it is about, is really sad, because I feel like it's just kind of his commentary on the racism that was going on around the time, and it's so sad because he died later that year of releasing this song, especially because there's a line in the song that says, I'm afraid to die. It's so chilling, but really good song. This song might be my number one when Spotify comes at me. Spotify comes at me. Is it right? Yeah. When Spotify harasses me and says, hey, this is what you listen to all year, have fun. You Sent Me Flying by Amy Winehouse is kind of perfect. Not kind of, it is. The piano, the lyricism, the storytelling. Like Amy Winehouse, she's probably my favorite singer. That's a bold statement. She's one of my favorites for sure. I don't know if I have a favorite, but I adore her so much. And Frank in general, which is the album this is on, is so underrated. Back to Black is obviously a fantastic album. I just think Frank also deserves their flowers. Like, it's so good. No skips. And You Sent Me Flying is one of my favorite songs, and I've just been listening to it a fucking ton. I sang it on karaoke on Danny's birthday because that's the kind of person I am, singing sad songs on karaoke, but it's lovely. It's so lovely and perfect and beautiful and wonderful. A song that I've been reintroduced to and been listening to for the past few days is Fortune by Laura Marling. And I really wanted to talk about it because her album Song for Our Daughter was one of my favorite albums that dropped last year. It's really sad. Okay, like it's a sad album, and Fortune especially, if you're in a bad time in your life, maybe skip this one. It's heartbreaking, and her voice is super angelic. Fun fact, she doesn't have kids because her album is called Song for Her Daughter. She said that she was inspired by Maya Angelou with that title, but she doesn't have her own kids. I listened to an episode of Song Exploder with her, so I'll definitely link it because I think it's a good introduction to her music. If you don't know, Song Exploder is a podcast where they interview like bands and artists and things to talk about a specific song what went into the writing, what went into the recording and the music and stuff. So they did one with the title track song for her daughter. Super cool to find out the elements of that song, and I will link it in the description. I could talk about music all day. Like, I need to know when to stop. Like, I'm gonna force myself to just say one more song and then stop. I'm just gonna talk about Olivia Rodrigo because she is a prodigy. What else do you want me to say? Like, Driver's License especially, like I really like Deja Vu, and I also like Brutal. Brutal's pretty fun. Driver's License, you know, it was out for a while before she released her album, so I was listening to it a ton just throughout the past year. It's definitely a song that I needed, and I know I sound like every person in their 20s are like, I wish I had this. I saw this really amazing meme of someone saying, some people grew up to Paramore, some are now growing up to Olivia Rodrigo, and I grew up to Lana Del Rey telling me to ride old men and do drugs. Which is true. Anyways, I'm really glad Driver's License exists today. It reminds me of a breakup that I went through years ago. Even though, you know, I don't feel heartbroken today, it brings me back to a time where I was really sad. When you've had a feeling like that, you're always going to remember it because it was such a monumental moment in your life, even though it was really sad. It's just something you're always going to remember about yourself. And this song just throws me back to that time, and I get emotional, okay? Like, I get emotional. Doesn't matter that she's younger than me. She's preaching to the choir. Spotify told me that I was one of the first 10% or something to stream that song, and I think they meant the first people to hear it versus like I'm in the 10% top listeners. Like, I listen to the song a lot, but regardless, I will take that trophy and claim it. There's definitely more songs I want to talk about, but I'll just stop there because I don't want this to get too long. That is my recent favorites, some makeup and media, I guess. It was a lot, but definitely let me know in the comments something that you've been loving. It could be anything. Obviously, since this video wasn't just focused on makeup, are there any shows I should be watching, or movies or musics I should check out? Definitely let me know. I'm open to a lot of different genres. There's definitely genres I do not like, but I'm open to a pretty big variety. Any favorite makeup products, definitely let me know. And yeah, I think that's it. Like and subscribe if you want to. Thank you guys so much for watching. You've been a lovely audience, and I'll talk to you later.